Welcome back everybody to a brand new episode of FPL Optimal Strategy. This is where I go through the best transfer plans for people on a wildcard and also people who have wildcarded or yet to wildcard. For example, myself, I am planning to wildcard in Game Week 13, so I'll go through the different transfers or the plan I have leading up to Game Week 13. And I'll also do the same for people wildcarding this week, wildcard Game Week 5. So guys, you should be familiar with this graphic if you've been watching my videos, but for the people who are new to the channel, I'll quickly explain what's going on. So I started this in Game Week 3 and planned all the way to 13, and the reason I stopped at 13 temporarily is because a lot of people plan to wildcard during Game Week 13 or use the bulk of their safe transfers. Now, why is Game Week 13 important? Well, very simply, Game Week 13 right here, by the way, this is fpl.team. I highly recommend you guys checking it out. But anyways, so in Game Week 13, if you look at Liverpool and Man City, they have, you could say, kind of like bad fixtures. So Villa at home, City away, Forest at home. I mean, they're not necessarily bad anymore because of Postecoglou coming in. And Villa have been terrible, but they haven't been maybe that bad defensively. And I think they will improve. They can't just stay bad until Game Week 10. But long story short is, Liverpool and City, they have a sea of grey and red that turn into a sea of green. They play the promoted sides, they play West Ham. Like, look at this. So this is the ideal time to switch over, as well as this is when Arsenal start, you know, having a little bit of a rough time. There's Champions League around that time, and they play away to Chelsea, away to Villa, home to Brentford, who haven't been pushovers, and home to Spurs, who are a tough team. So right around that time is when most people are planning to wildcard. I mean, the people who are yet to wildcard. But wildcarding Game Week 5 is not a bad thing, as I'll explain in a second. But yeah, so I've outlined the teams with the best fixtures, second best, third best. You can pause the video to have a closer look. I've also outlined the best captains, second best captains, and the must-have players, or the must-do transfers. Particularly in Game Week 6, you have to have Haaland. You just have to. He's going to be captained at least twice, if not 3 times, like in 3 game weeks in a row. Game Week 7, you have to have, let's say, 2 Arsenal players, or at least Gyökeres. Game Week 9, you have to have 2 or 3 Chelsea because they go on an insane run. And finally, as I just explained, Game Week 13, you have to have 3 Liverpool, 3 Man City because they have insane fixtures. So guys, for those of you who are pretty set on a wildcard this game week, maybe because you've had a very rough time, you want to refresh, reset your team, this is the sort of team that you should be going for. And I know the players maybe aren't perfect, like you wouldn't want DI necessarily away to Liverpool, or some of you who still have faith in United might say, I don't want 2 Chelsea players away to United. But then that's when I call you guys crazy. And have you guys seen or watched last week's game against Man City? They looked absolutely awful, United's defense at least. And you might not be comfortable playing Haaland, but Haaland is fixture proof. Yes, Arsenal have the best defense, but you need Haaland from Game Week 6 onwards, so you have to get him now and just roll with it. You know what I mean? He's not the worst player to have in the team. Like, come on, just because he plays Arsenal away, this is not a bad choice. But yeah, so the reason I've chosen these players specifically is because moving forward, you need to be saving transfers to account for the big fixture swing in Game Week 13. As well as these are the best players, in my opinion, in terms of defensive contributions, in terms of likelihood of getting a clean sheet, in terms of rotation, when you start swapping players around. And many of them are on penalties. And the Eye is on penalties, Semenyo is on penalties, Gyökeres, Haaland, Palmer. You know, even if the player plays badly, if, for example, Grealish gets fouled in the box in the 90th minute, even though Ndiaye has been missing all game, there you go. That's a free penalty. That's a free 0.8 XG right there. So you might be saying, oh, like, but surely there are maybe other players, other midfielders, because the forwards, they pick themselves. That's it. Like, everybody's gonna move on away from Watkins, which I still have, by the way, whom I still think he will get points unless he gets injured this midweek. I think they have a game. But yeah, unless he gets rotated for some reason. Even Mateta, I still think he's going to do well because he has West Ham away. But long term, these are the players you need to be going for. And yeah, that's it for game week 5. You should definitely captain, I would say, you know, like Palmer's not a bad shout. Away to United. Semenyo home to Newcastle, I wouldn't mind. Obviously, Salah is going to be the most captain, I think, at home to Everton. But after game week 5, sorry, you don't need any Liverpool. Because if we go here, they have Crystal Palace away, and we watched Liverpool play against Crystal Palace in the Community Shield, and they didn't look impressive at all. They're not even looking impressive right now. I swear to God, I don't even know how they have 12 points. They shouldn't have not even 6 points, in my opinion, at least. And then they play Chelsea away. Then, yeah, United at home. It's not a difficult match offensively. But then Brentford have been looking better. Villa should have fixed their issues. City are looking good. So it's not the best run. He's 14.5. Haaland will do the job, trust me. Because starting game week 6, Haaland has Burnley at home. And then the rest of your team is looking absolutely amazing. Everybody has a nice fixture. Everybody's happy. You even have Kudus on the bench, which of course you could play if you think he's going to do better than other players here. But that's how good your team looks for game week 6. And no transfer needed, of course. Game week 7. I mean, I used 2 free transfers here. You don't. I thought, okay, what if somebody really wanted a Arsenal defender? So I moved NDI down to Dewsbury Hall, which is a sideways move, and I wouldn't recommend it because if you're gonna do that, just do that from the get-go in game week 5. But let's say you follow this plan to the, you know, to the letter. You drop NDI to Dewsbury Hall, and then you get Gabriel. Now you have a Chelsea, you know, CS potential, Arsenal CS potential, Arsenal attack, Chelsea attack, City attack, and the 2 most informed teams in the game in Bournemouth and Spurs. Moving on. Oh, by the way, like even Lacroix doesn't have a bad game, but I think I'd prefer these defenders over him. Game week 8, we can save our transfer. Not the best games. Actually, no, they still look good. They still look good. Yeah. Maybe you could play Lacroix instead of Senesi, but Senesi is like a guaranteed 2 defensive contribution points on top of the 2 points he gets for starting. So, but yeah, we'll see what happens by then. Game week 9, you still save your transfer. You have your Arsenal players, you have your Chelsea players who have Sunderland, so Palmer becomes captain. So notice how we're still following the optimal strategy. We're still following, I mean, except for game week 5, you won't have the best captain. That's the only, you know, bad part about wildcarding this early. But from 6 onwards, you always have the best captain and almost always have the second best captain. So, and that's the important thing going forward. Yeah, so we're at game week 9. And notice we haven't even used a free hit, by the way. So technically you could free hit game week 5 and then wildcard game week 6, by the way. Then you'll have all the captains, all the perfect captains. And this is what we do here. Game week 10. So you wouldn't captain Palmer, you'd probably captain Gyökeres if he's starting, or even Bournemouth. Even Haaland against Bournemouth. And if you're not comfortable playing Semenyo, which you should, because City's defense didn't look that good, even against United, even against most teams, even against Brighton. So you can target them offensively, like attacking their defense. Game week 11, we have 4 free transfers. Our team looks perfect. We don't need to do anything. Yeah, you can move Kudus on. I guess you can move Kudus on at that point. You can move him on actually like way earlier. Who for? We don't know. I'm planning ahead, but we can't know what's gonna happen by game week 11. If Haaland gets injured in game week 7, all this draft goes to, you know, into the garbage. Not all of it, but like you're gonna move Haaland on and get somebody else, you know, like maybe an Isak at that point if he's firing. That's why I'm not gonna make too many transfers ahead in time, because a lot of things can change in life and in FPL. But roughly speaking, it's not a bad thing to have 4 transfers in the bank, and then you can do whatever you want here, and your team still looks good. That's the most important thing. You have the best captain, hell, even the second best captain, third best captain, and your team looks good, and you have all the transfers. So it's a solid plan so far. Game week 12, again, I'm not gonna go past this But the most important thing is you have the best players. You would captain Palmer in this game week, and you have 5 transfers, or 4 or 3 even, depending on how many transfers you did before then, because you would have moved on Kudus at that point to someone else. But yeah, that's it for the wildcard, guys. I think free hitting in game week 5 and then wildcarding in 6, or like just keeping your team as it is in 5 and then wildcarding in 6 would be better. But if you're, that's it, you're set on wildcarding this week, this is the best selection of players that you could go for, especially planning forward. Now, as for the non-wildcarders, which include myself, I should start by saying that I have never, ever been this unfortunate and unlucky in my life playing FPL. I've never seen my players missing that many chances and their teams performing that poorly ever. For example, Aston Villa were amazing during the end of last season. They were amazing in preseason. There were 0 indicators that they will do badly. Nobody on earth could have predicted that Aston Villa, not just Watkins, Aston Villa, the team, would have 0 goals in 4 game weeks, in the first 4 game weeks. That's just unpredictable. And Mateta, he keeps missing sitters. Like, we can't do anything about that. They have the fixtures. Their squads are good. I don't know what's going on. Mbeumo could have had a hat-trick against City. I don't know how he... Donnarumma did an amazing save to save that chance, and Mbeumo missed a tap-in, unfortunately. Fernandes didn't have the best of games. That's fine. Liverpool aren't looking that good, even though they are scoring and winning. By scoring, I mean getting a lucky penalty. It's a correct penalty, of course, but... like, Hannibal, come on. what is that? Anyways, I had Salah captain, by the way, so I'm not really like that upset, but come on, common sense. But yeah, so this week I think this is what most FPL players are scared to do, which is stay patient. Stay patient, because in my wildcard draft that I just showed you, yeah, the players are playing better, they're in better form. But are you really that upset at having Watkins and Mateta just for one more game if you're planning on wildcarding in game week 6? I think I can hold this team for one more game week to get just a little bit more information, for example. And I think because 5 game weeks is almost like perfect amount of information to really make a good decision on your wildcard. Not saying you can't have a good wildcard before then. A lot of people do and did. But you know, the more information the better, right? So I'm sticking, and I would advise people who are not on a wild card to stick as well, unless you have injuries and stuff. You have the best captain. That's the most important thing. Yeah, Salah is not playing like his old self, but he has the easiest game and at home in Anfield. Game week 6, obviously we get Haaland, very easy. So I moved Salah down to Sar, who's a placeholder, so I might not get Sar if he's not back by then. He could be anybody. We have 4.7 million in the bank, and I'll get Haaland and captain him. And you know, the United players have a good game. Everybody else has a good game. Gakpo maybe not so much with Crystal Palace, but it's not the end of the world. Game week 7. What do I do in game week 7? Oh yeah, I got Gyökeres, so I move on from Gu to Gyökeres. So I also have Arsenal, I have my City. Watkins has Burnley at home, but who knows, maybe Aston Villa won't score in 7 game weeks and I still won't get any points from Watkins. You never know. Fernandes and Mbeumo have Sunderland at home. The team is looking good. So just because I haven't wildcarded, excuse me, the team is still looking very good. Yeah, and I still have the best captain. That's the most important thing, guys. You don't want to be hiding behind your couch every single game week. So you have to have Haaland during this period. You have to. Game week 8. Apparently, I plan to bench boost this game week. I mean, yeah, I have an excellent bench, I guess. So why not? Yeah, Fernandes and Mbeumo play against away to Liverpool. But we just saw them against Arsenal, against City. They're getting the chances. Especially Mbeumo, he's getting the chances. I swear. He's just been a little bit unfortunate. Like that crazy Donnarumma save. And the Raya saves, and then also the team, and then I mean the team is at their lowest point. Imagine they improve a little bit. So if they're at their lowest point and already registering almost like top 3, top 4 highest XGs in the league, yeah, if you check the data, that's what's happening. Imagine if they actually improve, like they'll be solid, trust me. I just need them to put away their chances. Yeah, but it's just this one game week that United have a tough fixture. So the ones before, they're absolutely fine. Ignore Chelsea, Brentford, Sunderland at home, and then after is Brighton at home, Forest away. Forest are crap right now. Spurs away is a little bit tricky. I mean, not the okay, like decent fixtures, I'll say, just to be safe. Anyway, so bench boost here. Then you get Palmer and Pedro. So you're following almost the same template as the wild card, but except you haven't really wild carded. And then game week 10. Maybe you could free hit this game week because I would have 2 Chelsea players away to Spurs, Watkins away to Liverpool if I still have him by then. But I don't have to, but it's just an option. Game week 11, I get Gabriel for Sunderland. Game week 12, perfect team. So it's not far off of what the wildcarders would do. In case you want to keep your wildcard for this game week, which I actually haven't set up the team yet. So it won't be this exactly, but yeah, I'll show you what it would look like in the next section. So guys, this is a potential game week 13 draft. I'm not going to spend too much time talking about this or even, you know, discussing it that much. I'm just showing you that you will need some transfers banked if you're wildcarding in game week 5 or 6 or before 13 essentially, because you will need to try to find a way to get 3 Liverpool and 3 City at that point. Yeah, so I'm not gonna spend too much time. I'm just showing you an example. Of course, it will never even come close to looking like this because at that time we don't know what's gonna happen. A lot of players could get injured, a lot of players could get rotated, suspended, their wives might be giving birth. Apparently that's a new reason to skip games. So yeah, we don't know. So this is just an example I thought I'd show you, and yeah, that's about it. But yeah, hopefully you guys found this video useful. Hopefully you've been following the strategy, especially the wildcard strategy. If you followed it in the past, you would have been doing amazingly. If you haven't, maybe not so much. I know I have had the worst start in my FPL career, let's say. But yeah, I'm looking forward to the next game week, and I think I can start turning things around slowly but surely. But once again, guys, thanks for watching, and I hope you guys found this enjoyable and useful. Please like and subscribe if you did, and I'll catch you in the next one. Bye bye.